Hey guys, what's happening? Thanks for tuning in, coming back, and watching. This is episode 9. That would be 5 and 4, 9 of my 10-part tutorial series on Luminar 4. Appreciate you guys watching and subscribing and tuning in and commenting and interacting with me. I really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun for me. Hope you're learning some stuff. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. And today we're talking about layers. So in the first 8, we've covered like the basics and the tools and the filters or tools. So now that you're editing images, I'm getting the last 2 episodes are going to be about a little bit more complicated subjects, and that is layers in this episode, and the next episode will be about masking. And so again, this is high level. I will come back and do a deeper dive on some of these topics, but I wanted to go ahead and get started. So let's jump into layers. Here's a photo that I have. Now, what is a layer, you might be asking? A layer basically allows you to, if you think about like stacking sheets of paper, your image, your primary image, like the one you're looking at here, that's like this sheet of paper that's on the bottom of the stack. Each layer is like sticking another sheet of paper on top of it, and you can just keep stacking and stacking, and I don't know what the limit is, if there is one. However, you will start to hog system resources if you get too many layers. But sheet of paper actually may not be a great analogy. A better analogy might be like a transparency, like a transparent or clear sheet. And so what a layer does is you have edits you've done on your base layer, which is your original photo. And then as you add a new layer, you can add edits there, and the edits on the bottom or your original photo will show through, and you can paint these other ones into specific parts of the photo using masking, which we'll talk about in the next video. But there's also blend modes, there's opacity, and it gives you a lot of flexibility to really customize your image. So let's get into it. Let's say I have an image here, and I'm going to go into my looks, and I'm going to go grab this look in my user thing, whatever. I'm building some looks that I'll be talking about later, and I stick that on the photo. And if you look at the original and now, it's better. I like it. I think it's a nice looking photo, right? I'm a little biased because it's a look that I built, but regardless, there, I stuck a look on the photo, and again, I'm on the base image, right there. And you can see all the filters that have been used, right? All the ones that are highlighted, and then there's something in Pro, adjustable gradient. So there we go. This is all my base layer. So where is the layers panel, Jim? Well, it's right here. These stacked sheets of paper or transparencies right there. If you hover over it, it says layers. If you click on that, you can see here, you've got your base layer. It's got the raw file, .orf. That's an Olympus raw file. I shot this with my Olympus camera a number of years ago, back when I had Olympus. And that's a layer. And then if you want to add a new layer, you click on the plus button, and you see you have some options. Add new adjustment layer, which is what I'm about to do. Add a new image layer, which I'll talk about in a second, or create a new stamped layer, which I'll talk about later. Add a new adjustment layer would be, hey Jim, I got this look, but I want to use another look and stack it on top of it to amplify the effect. Okay, add a new adjustment layer, and then, I'll just do that. Add a new adjustment layer, and now I'm on an adjustment layer, and all I do is I go over here to the filters. They're all grayed out because I'm on that second layer, right? I'm not on the base photo. I'm on this next layer, and then I can go in and get another look, and in this case, I'm just going to grab the same one, stick it on there again. So now I've got 2 of the same look added to this image. If you decide you don't like it or want to change it, go back up here to your layers panel. By the way, you can, of course, adjust the intensity of these sliders if you would like to, but go back up to your layers panel, and you have some options here. You have opacity. So that's just an intensity slider, right? At 0, that is just, there's nothing on this new sheet being applied, and all you're seeing is everything that you did on with the look on the base layer. So you can come in here at 100 opacity. Hey, that's a little too saturated, Jim. Okay, well, maybe I take it down to 50 opacity, and you know what? That looks pretty good. So what did I do? I took a base layer, which is just my photo. I stuck a look on it, and then I added a new layer, a new transparent or clear sheet of paper on top of my base layer. I stuck that same look again, and then I reduced the intensity of that from 100 to 50, so it's a halfway, if you will, instead of full. And there you go. I got a pretty decent looking folder, and that's layers. And you can just keep doing that. Add a new adjustment layer, etc., etc. The other thing to be aware of is blend modes. You can come in here and say, well, I kind of want to experiment with blend modes, which I recommend doing. And you come through and you just hover over these and you see if they look good or if they look terrible, right? So lighten looks pretty good there. Maybe I'll change it to lighten. And then in that case, maybe I'll take the opacity back up. And all it did is change the blend mode, which basically tells one layer how to interact or blend with the layer below it. If you're interested in blend modes, I recommend Googling that. There's copious amounts of blog posts and videos about it. I'm no expert, but they do come in handy. So that's something to think about. You also have layer transform. So if you had added like a new image layer and you wanted to squish it, if you click layer transform, you can get in here and then you can change that. You can see here, you can flip it left to right or up and down or rotate it. You can also do things like this where you squish it, right? So I'm gonna hit reset. I don't wanna do that, so I don't need to transform the layer, but that tool is there if you need it. One of the great things I think about layers is it gives you the ability to experiment. So this little checkbox here, that just turns off the layer that you're on, which means everything that you're seeing is just what's on the base layer. So what I like to do is maybe I get the base layer, which is just my original photo, maybe I get that to a spot that I really like and say, well, that's really cool. I think I'm gonna leave it there. But then of course, curiosity killed the cat, and I start to think, well, maybe I wanna experiment, but I don't wanna screw up what I got, because what if I forget where I started from? Hey, add a new layer. It's great for experimentation. So you add this new adjustment layer, and then you come in here and you start doing more experiments and see if you like it better or not. And that checkbox to turn that layer on or off allows you to compare my original layer with the edits on it and turning it back on, this layer on top of it with the edits, including what was already done on the base layer. Hey, I like that better. So that was a good experiment. I'm fine, I'm happy, I'm gonna export the photo and move on. So that's one way I like to use layers, which is just to go experiment, because I might get something that I really like and then decide I like it, but I kind of want to experiment some more just because I'm curious, and so add a new layer to go do that. The other command here, add new image layer, would be, for example, if you wanted to add a double exposure, you could get a second image, stick it on top, and then do some blending. In previous versions of Luminar, I would add a new image layer in order to add a new sky and then blend it in. But with AI sky replacement, hey, we don't have to worry about that anymore. So that need for layers for that is kind of out the window, but it's absolutely great for experimentation or blending two different images like a double exposure or just something creative. It comes in handy in that case. Okay, and then there's also stamped layer. You can just say create a new stamped layer. And a stamped layer, what it basically does is it kind of smushes everything that you've already done to the photo across any previous layers, and it creates a new layer for you, and it sits it on top of the existing layers. So you can see it just did that. So down here, if you look at my cursor, that .orf, that's my original raw file that had edits, that had that look applied. Adjustment layer 1 is the one where I added that same look again, and then reduced the opacity and changed the blend mode. The stamp layer is just all of that combined in a new layer. So if I turn this off, the photo is going to look the same because all it is just a copy of everything that's below it. It's basically another way to get to where you can say, all right, I like what I did on the base layer plus the adjustment layer. I kind of want to save that. Okay, we'll create a stamped layer. You stamp it together, and now you have that layer sitting on top, and this stamp layer contains the edits from all the layers below it. So again, that's another way to sort of save your work in process and then say, I like it, but I still kind of want to experiment because I'm still curious. Okay, great. I got a stamp layer. All that stuff is saved, and I can go over here and then do some more customization if I'd like to. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and delete this stamped layer and get rid of that. And what I'm going to do is add one more adjustment layer just for fun. Add a new, not an image layer, adjustment layer. Okay, I thought I hit the wrong key there. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to get, what am I going to get? I'm going to get mystical just because it sounds fun, sounds mystical, sounds happy. I'm going to drag a little bit of that, and then I'm going to come over to portrait. I'm going to get Orton, drag a little bit of that. And all I did is just add some of that, what I call romantic glow. Those two filters I think work great for that. If I go back up to my layers panel, by the way, if you ever need to get to layers, just go click on the icon, and when you're done and ready to adjust, just come down here to one of the 4 tabs where you can get to your editing sliders, also known as tools. And that's what I was doing. But anyway, now I have my base image that has a look, my adjustment layer 1 that has a look at lower opacity and different blend mode, and now adjustment layer 2, which has these Mystical and Orton on it. So you probably noticed some other commands. You can hide the layer, you can delete it, which you already saw me do, and I'm going to skip rasterize for a second. You can duplicate it. Hey, I like this, but I want to do the same thing again. Okay, duplicate the layer. You can rename it. I don't want to call it adjustment layer 2. I want to call this Mystical Orton so I don't forget what's on there. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go back to adjustment layer 1, and I'm going to click rename here, rename layer, and this is going to be look opacity. I can't type, opacity and blend, just to tell me what I did. So that's a good way, especially when you get multiple layers, you start to kind of scratch your head and say, where in the hell is the whatever I did on whichever layer, because you have so many you forget. Anytime you want to pop between layers, you can just go click on them and go to the next layer. And obviously, and anytime you move from layer to layer to layer, the filters that are, tools, also known as filters in my book, whatever, they're going to be the ones that represent the layer that you clicked on. So right now, it's just these two tabs are highlighted because that's where Mystical and Orton are. But if I clicked on Looks Opacity Blend layer or my original base layer, they would show the filters that were used on that layer. Okay, so another option here in this is Rasterize Layer. You also get blend mode and masking. I'm going to get into masking in the next video. Rasterize Layer. Let's talk about that. Okay, when you rasterize a layer, I'm going to go ahead and do that. What it does is it just collapses everything on that layer, and what it'll do is it'll include everything you've done from a filter point of view, but it will reset the filters and it'll rename it as a rasterized layer. Okay, here we are. Now it says Rasterize Layer Mystical Orton, right? So why do you do this, Jim? Well, I do this, and the reason it exists is if you have a whole lot of filters or sliders or tools, whatever you want to call them, if you've got just a ton of stuff on a particular layer, it can start to consume a lot of memory and system resources. And so if you rasterize the layer, you just squish all that together and you bake it into that layer. But if you notice, these filters are no longer highlighted. Mystical is no longer highlighted, but it's included. It's been rasterized, so it's all stuck in there, and these filters are reset. Subsequently, Orton not highlighted anymore either because it's been reset, even though Orton and Mystical on this tab are collapsed, if you will, into the rasterized layer. So it's basically to free up resources, and if you've got a whole lot of these filters or tools being used on a single layer, and you want to keep experimenting or whatever, rasterize the layer, and it'll call it a rasterized layer, and then whatever the name of the layer is, and you'll have all those filters collapsed into, I hate to say hard-coded, but it basically collapses it into there and resets the filter, and that way it doesn't go back and like continually consume system resources while you continue to experiment. So it's great for freeing up resources, basically. Okay, my friends, and that's really it for layers. I mean, we talked about stacking looks on layer 1 or base layer, and then next layer, changing opacity and blend mode to experiment with them. We talked about what a stamped layer is and why to use it. We also talked about rasterize layers and why you would use that. And of course, over here we went through these different commands like delete layer, rename layer, masking, things like that. I'll probably come back and do a more detailed tutorial on some of this in the future, but I wanted to provide a high-level overview of what layers are in Luminar and how it works, and give you a good jumping off point for experimentation, which is really, I think, what layers are great for. It's great to be able to just go in there and do your edits on your base layer and then say, I like it, I'm going to keep experimenting, but I don't want to screw up what I already did or lose track of it, so I'm going to add a new layer. That way all my experiments are on my new layer, and if they suck, I just delete the layer and I still have what I previously did. I didn't lose it. So layers are great for that, not to mention giving you fine-grained control over your photo. For example, you can no longer use the same filter twice on the same layer in Luminar 4. So if you want to use AI accent or light or color or whatever, you want to use it twice or 3 times or whatever, just to do whatever it is that you're doing, you would need to add a new adjustment layer each time in order to get to the same filter again and again and again. So that's another reason to use layers. And that's really it for this video tutorial, my friends. That was episode 9. One more to go in my series, but there's a whole lot more coming after that, including a number of deep dives and some of the more complicated. Ooh, gosh, that sounds scary, Jim. It's not complicated. It's actually easy. More deep dives into some of the more involved techniques and tools and things like that and capabilities here in Luminar. So subscribe, like, share, all that stuff. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Hope you found this helpful. I'll see you soon. No, wait, what am I going to say? I'll see you really soon, my friends. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Next one's on masking, so get ready for that. Take care and adios.